welcome to One Nation, a Sports Locker Magazine Extra. And I don't even know what to tell you guys tonight because this program is going to be full of energy. There are some guys that I'm bringing on here. I don't know. They might even just throw down across the internet. I don't know. But we're excited about this. I'm not even going to delay with bringing this guy in. Wait till you see what my co-host, Jay Gill, looks like right now. Jay, what is going on?
What's up, Dad? Are
Yeah.
you ready to rumble?
Yes, I am, but I think you really are. What is that on your head?
Headband. Like I'm a wrestler, like with a headband on.
I know. I just wanted you to explain to the audience
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. You jump right in it. You go ahead and start doing your thing that you do. I'm going to listen to what you have to say.
Very much. All right. This is a special edition One Nation episode. This is One Nation meets wrestling entertainment. You guys are in for an absolute treat tonight. I've got two of my lifelong dearest friends on the show with me tonight. First up, we have on Mr. Ryan Olson. Now, if you're a fan of One Nation, if you're a fan of the Sports Locker Magazine Extra, then I know you know the name Ryan Olson. Ryan has been on the show several times as a fantasy football guru, a fantasy football expert. Tonight I have him on, a wrestling entertainment expert. He's one of the top guys in this field, and so I'm very excited to have on my mentor, my dear friend, Ryan Olson. When I was talking with Mr. Ryan, and he found out, that we wanted to talk about wrestling entertainment, he's like, you gotta bring on Mikey. And I'm like, of course I gotta bring on Mikey Fresh. Mikey Fresh and I go back 15 years. I don't even know. He and my wife go back like 30 years, like toddlers running around in the backyard. So when I met Mike, it changed my life forever, for the worse and the better. Just kidding. I love you, Mikey. And I am so glad to have him on the show with us tonight. And so, yeah, we're here to just have fun times and talk about wrestling entertainment. Who's ready?
I'm ready. You guys ready?
Let's do it. We're going.
All right. Ryan and Mike, welcome to the program.
Glad to be here. Let's get rolling.
Get rolling. There you go, Jay. That's your cue. Get it rolling.
All right. Awesome. I'm going to get us rolling here. Start with Mr. Ryan Olson. What got you into pro wrestling or wrestling entertainment? You're a young buck. You started watching what in the 60s, 70s?
Well, let me tell you something, brother. It all started way back when I was 8 years old. Dude, I've been watching wrestling since I've been 7 or 8 years old. I don't remember the first match I watched, but we went to church every Sunday, and wrestling back in the day when you had 5 channels was on at noon on Sundays. And I remember looking back at the clock every Sunday, waiting for 11:30 to hit so we could get home so I could watch wrestling, see what Hulk Hogan and Beefcake and Macho Man and the guys were up to. And my dad liked to talk at the church at the end because he was the sheriff. So when 11:45 hit, I was out the door running home 10 blocks so I could get in front of the TV and watch. Growing up as a kid, I had a great uncle that owned a bar, and on Sunday they got pay-per-view for free. And back then, pay-per-views were like $60, which today is probably about 100 grand, I'm guessing. And the bars got them for free. So me and my cousin, from the ages of 7 to 12, got to go to every single pay-per-view back then. There's only 4 of them, and we got to go to this bar, eat stale popcorn, drink pop all day. It was awesome. Greatest memories ever.
There you go. Wait, I just need to comment on that real quick. So there you have it. The only man I ever have met to have gone to church and gone to a bar to watch Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Yeah, bro.
in one afternoon. That's awesome.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And eat
Are,
stale
did,
popcorn.
did they allow kids in the bar back then, or
Well, bars aren't open on Sundays, so we got to go in there just with a few of the regulars that would go in and watch wrestling. They would drink adult pop while we were drinking our unlimited soda all day.
that's awesome? Was your dad super supportive of wrestling, or like what that look like?
My dad was super supportive. He was a dare instructor in school, so we always got to go to the state fair. One of my favorite stories is we went to the state fair one year and wrestling was there. And so my dad had to get tickets, and me, him, and my brother went to this wrestling match. It was my first one live. I've only been to a couple, and he went down to get pictures. And back then they had the Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch. Whoa, yeah!
There you go.
And
There
they
you go.
licked his face when he took a picture. It was awesome.
You said they licked his face.
That's what they would do. They would grab people and they would lick their face, and he got licked.
Wow.
Man, and unfortunately, that was just a house show. I wish that was on TV so we could go back and watch that.
I thought, well, when I was that age, I thought we were on TV back then. That was awesome.
Hey, Ryan
That
and,
is-
Ryan and Mike, I want to, when I get ready to switch to this 3 screen again, doesn't it look like Jay's trying to be like Andre the Giant or somebody huge? Watch this. Here we go.
I am. I don't know what the problem is. I'm bigger than both of them. Bring it on. I don't know what to tell you, Dad. I just look good today. I'm just looking good today. Mikey, interesting because I had no idea how deep the world of wrestling entertainment went. Um, my experience with wrestling was I watched it with my grandpa as a kid. Me and my younger brother John, we would watch it, and we absolutely enjoyed it. It was a great era. It was in the like late '90s, so you're watching just all of the awesome Attitude Era unfold every week, and my grandpa was just hooked. So we would watch it. But I mean, as I grew up, I just quit watching. I start hanging out with you, and you're like, "Hey, there's a Royal Rumble," and I'm like, "That's my favorite one. I love the Royal Rumble." I can't remember what year it was, maybe 2013, 2014 Royal Rumble, and ever since then, like you got me hooked back on wrestling, and I just couldn't believe how many fans there were, how deep it went. Your knowledge of wrestling blows my mind. I feel like you've watched probably 100,000 hours of everything that ever was, and so um, I'm curious, where did your love for wrestling come from? So it's kind of the same question as Ryan, but how'd you get into it?
Well, what's interesting is that my favorite times of wrestling were actually before I was watching wrestling. And so, where it really started for me is I remember, my family growing up, we were a large family, so we didn't have, at first a lot of the amenities that a lot of other families had. And so it wasn't until I was 9 or 10 years old that we got satellite. And that was like game changing. I mean, a world that I never knew existed. So I'm flipping through channels and all of a sudden I come across Monday Night Raw. I know what it is just because wrestling transcends understanding, whether you know about it or not. So I'm sitting there looking, and one of my earliest memories is watching Triple H being awarded the World Heavyweight Championship by the then general manager Eric Bischoff for no other reason other than he's just a slimy bad guy. And I remember being so taken by the pageantry, the production, the drama, and I think wrestling is just overall, it's metaphors for real life. If there's a situation that you're dealing with in real life, man, or you're gonna have the tie-in back to wrestling, most of which ends up giving a stone cold stunner to somebody because that's just the best ending to every story. But there is just something about wrestling that ties so many aspects of entertainment together. It is just undeniably attractive. And man, like from the first moment I saw it, I have been hooked ever since.
you know, I had never been to like a live show. I think I went to one when I was really young, and I did that with my grandpa and with my brother John. Um, but I don't know if it was an actual aired like Monday Night Raw or one of those pre-recorded SmackDowns. I don't know what it was. It could have even been a house show. It wasn't until I started going to some of those with you that like that's where I have the memories of them. And I mean like you said, the production when you're there live and you're getting to watch it all, it is so amazing. And I had no idea house shows existed. Anyone who's watching that doesn't know what a house show is, a house show is where they're still putting on like matches. They're showing up and doing these big, awesome sets, but it's not for anyone except who showed up. It's not recorded. It's not going on live TV. It's just for people who paid money and showed up to this house show. So it's a much smaller venue. And Mike, we went to a great house show. Was that in Springfield?
Springfield, Missouri.
It was in Springfield, Missouri, and it was so much fun. I remember um, I yelled at Bray Wyatt, and this was when Bray Wyatt um, was being the dark character that Bray was. What was he before that? I don't even remember what I yelled at him. You told
So,
me.
so prior to his kind of reinvention on the main roster as this character, he was this, let's just say, more fluffy blue
Husky
collar
Harris.
character
It came to my
named
head.
Husky Harris, and it has been well documented via the internet that he hated his Husky Harris character. And so I'll turn the story back over to you.
He's
Husky.
in the ring. He's in the ring beating this guy down. And he's like over the top of him, like looking down at him. And me and Mike, we were like, what, in the second row? Like we were really close for this
Yep.
house show. And I yelled out, Husky Harris. And he just goes, and he's staring into my soul, right in my eyes, and I got chills. I sat down. Like I was like, he's about to come kill me. And where's Mike at in Mike's the one that told me, like, hey, he used to be called Husky Harris. What if you yell it out? And I'm like, yeah, this is great. And I thought I was going to die. Like I thought I was going to die. Because Mike had a special moment. I think it was with Neville.
Yep.
You said something like you called him one of his old names, and he like got excited and gave you a head nod. So I was like, I'm gonna get me one of those from Bray Wyatt. I did not.
You did not.
I did not get one of
Did
those.
not.
Michael,
Hey.
what's some of your
Real quick, I want to get a better picture of this. You know, you were going back, Michael, talking about satellite. So talk to us about the size of the satellite. Was it just one you put up on the side of the house, or was it one of those big, huge radar dishes that are out in the backyard?
It was actually one of the newer ones. I
Okay.
think we just hit that threshold where we got to have the compact satellite dish
Okay.
instead of the flying saucer in the backyard.
Yeah, because that's what my in-laws, they used to have one, and I thought NASA was based out back there. But
Yeah.
I just wondered. I just wanted to get a better visual. So thank you for answering that.
And for some reason, it got horrible reception. Like, why is this massive
How much
satellite?
bigger does it need to be?
Apparently
Oh,
needed
so
to be
funny.
rotating.
But Mike, what's some of your favorite memories from a house show or live show? Keep it appropriate.
Oh man, there are stories, but they are not for here and now. There's so many, and honestly, they're gonna sound kind of simple, but honestly, one of my favorite memories was being able to experience the Undertaker in person. So I didn't unfortunately get to see the full entrance. So 2015 Battleground, the Battleground pay-per-view. I had heard through the grapevine of the internet that the Undertaker was going to show up and confront Brock Lesnar in the main event. It was a rumor. No one really knew that if it was going to happen or not. But what it turned out to be, if I'm not mistaken, I could be, but I'm not sure, was the lead up to the WrestleMania where Brock Lesnar defeated The Undertaker. And so last minute, we grabbed tickets to Battleground. It happened to be in St. Louis, so all the stars were aligning. You had Undertaker, you had St. Louis within driving distance, so we snatched up some tickets about midway up in the arena. We sat through the whole show, and it was a good show. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, when you're waiting for the end of the show, you're just like, okay, come on, let's go, keep it moving. And so we get to the main event. It's Brock Lesnar against somebody, and because I don't remember, because that's not why I was there. And so we get to the end of the match, and all of a sudden, the lights go out, and you just hear gong, gong, and the thing is, like, again, the just the production value of everything, it pierces straight through you. I mean, the sound just penetrates your body, and you just hear the eruption of the crowd, just, and then the lights go down, and it seems like for only 3 seconds, and then the lights come back up, and Undertaker is standing dead center in the middle of the ring, face to face with the beast incarnate Brock Lesnar, and just chills are going up your arms, and you're just like, oh man, it's on. And so there's a few swings, I think, and then all of a sudden, boom, tombstone pile driver. Show ends with Undertaker doing his thing, and man, just talk about going home happy. It was just one of those things. And I would say that the only other moment that comes really, really close to that is I got super lucky. It was Survivor Series 2014, so the year prior. I had, again, in St. Louis, because that's where I was close to, snagged up tickets and found out along the way through the dirt sheets that none other than the icon Sting was going to be signing with WWE. It was hush-hush. No one knew if it was true. So we get to the main event of Survivor Series, traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. You have the Authority faction with Triple H at its helm facing the underdogs, and they're going at it. Dolph Ziggler's the last one left for the team of the underdogs, and you know, the Authority is cheating, and they're gonna win. And all of a sudden, you hear the crow sound, you know, whatever that sound is. And all of a sudden, his music hits, and out walks.
And we lost Michael.
Mike,
Hey,
no!
this is See, he's getting carried away. He's pounding on his thing. So we're going to go ahead and go to our commercial break here real quick, and we'll try to bring him back in. All right.
Not everybody is an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday type. At CNS, we have employment options for the way you want to work with our flexible scheduling program. Flexible scheduling is designed to fit your lifestyle and allows you to be in control of your schedule. CNS offers insurance plans upon employment. Celebrating 45 years of staffing, CNS Business Services.
Say yes to CNS.
All right. Look who's back. Michael Glavin came back on. You need to quit getting so excited. You're beating on your camera, you're moving it around, and then all of a sudden you just go off air. I was like, what is going on over there? Are they cutting the cord on this guy?
I must have been a little too excited. Maybe the censorship on the other end of the broadcast was like, whoa, this guy's about to do something. So
Kirk just took him off.
Anyway, all that to say, I got to see the icon Sting show up in the WWE for the first time, making history. He'd go on to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, be the front cover for video games, be a couple-time WWE champion. It was the start of a beautiful run, and I got to be there to experience it. Man, just fantastic memories.
That's awesome. Hey, before you guys go any further, I did want to just quickly say thanks to our sponsor, CNS Business Services. They do an outstanding job for us in this program as well as in our community, and we just appreciate Paula and her entire team for everything that they do. This has been good so far. You know, I know a lot of people are probably going to look at this and say, how in the world do they know so much about professional wrestling? And so with that in mind, one of my questions that I want to ask you guys, and this is what I really want to know, what happens with these guys that are so maxed out on steroids and then they actually get angry when they're in there in the ring and somebody else makes them mad? Any real stuff ever happened there?
Oh, absolutely. So there's a common term in professional wrestling that they use, from behind the curtain. It's called working stiff, and that means that, man, like, if you did something bad, you're gonna get some real punches. And so it's a very common thing, and it's actually pretty identifiable when something's gone wrong, because usually it follows a bad spot, or a move gone wrong, and you can see the anger and the frustration, and it starts to come out. All of a sudden some bodies are getting bruised, and people are getting thrown around a little bit more than they were 2 minutes ago.
Ryan, what's your opinion on all that?
I got to go back here a little bit. First, I'm just taken when you said wrestlers take steroids. My childhood just got ruined. What are you talking about? Second, second of all, I'm gonna let you guys in a little secret on why Mike went off the air. Did you hear his crow sound? I think everybody heard that, and whoever's in charge of the internet said, "Get him out there now." What was that? Well, I'll tell
Yes.
you, when someone goes off script and gets mad, there was no wrestler that handed out more punishment than Andre the Giant back in the day when that happened.
Oh my
That's right.
goodness, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's an iconish name right there too. I enjoyed watching him. It would almost seem like slow motion, but you knew if he got a hold of somebody, it probably wasn't going to feel good with him landing on him. So,
Yep.
Jay, what's your thoughts on all that about the roid rage?
I mean, I don't know if you call it roid rage, but I mean, like Mike said, I mean, the it's known that they'll work stiff, and they do um, hit, they do make contact. The thing that I was always intrigued on is they don't it's not like they have hours of rehearsal time for one match. It's not like, hey, you guys are gonna be. So I always thought, so Monday night, so they're going to spend all week rehearsing for that one match on Monday night, and then they'll spend time rehearsing for that next show on Friday, and they'll spend the weekend rehearsing. I had no idea that these guys are traveling, you know, 300 days a year, if not more, going to all these house shows on top of it. It's just, hey, you're going to be in this match with this person. They figure it out in the match. Like, so if they're told anything, it's the end. Like, this is how the ending's going to go. Give us 20 minutes of awesome entertainment. And that's what they do. They improv. And so that's what Mike's talking about. There's a bad spot. These guys know moves. They know and when you actually watch, you can actually see them kind of, when they're leaning against each other, talking a little bit, and then they're going to go do these moves. And if someone messes it up, you can hurt someone. I was with Mike at the Sting show, and it was epic, and I was so excited for Sting to be in the WWE. And one bad spot, I'm trying to remember who did it, but they threw him into the turnbuckle, a power bomb, and his neck did not ever recover from that. Who did that to him, Mike? I can't remember.
That was actually at Night of Champions versus Seth Rollins later on the following
Seth Rollins.
year. That
Yep.
was the next summer. It was a United States Championship match, Seth Rollins versus Sting at Night of Champions. Seth Rollins picked him up, went for the buckle bomb, which is a power bomb on your mid-back against the top turnbuckle. It was botched, and Sting either hyperextended his back or cracked a vertebrae or something, but he did not wrestle in the WWE after that. And so that was a pretty big letdown. But yeah.
It was super sad because they were building to something that was going to be really awesome. So a lot of people are like, "Oh man, it's wrestling, it's all fake," and that's one of the worst terms I hate hearing as a pro wrestling fan, because there's a difference between like knowing that some of it's scripted, like knowing like an ending, and versus being fake, because there's nothing fake about it. Like, these guys are doing real moves. that you get people who are lifelong injured, can never wrestle again, have to have their neck infused, spinal infusions. Like there is actual um, like pain that goes into this. It's not fake. You have to be an athlete to do this. Um, and back in the day, I know that the roids was a big thing, but they have made sure that they follow a lot more safety protocols. They don't allow the guys to just do a bunch of steroids, get jacked up. That's not a thing anymore. I think that ended even maybe in the 90s. Ryan, you might know more about it, but yeah, I know
Why,
that's not
why are
a
you
big
point? Why
thing.
are you saying Ryan when you're going back older? Why are you saying
Because
that?
Ryan has grown. He grew up through so many eras, and so I didn't even know all these eras existed. Like it wasn't until years later, like when I'm hanging out with Mikey Fresh and I'm watching these documentaries and I'm learning about the Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant stuff. I didn't get to watch that. I never even really knew it was a thing. I wasn't raised on it, and so when you get to go back and watch some of these awesome storylines and what led to that and these epic matches, like it's really fun.
Pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
let me
Let,
let me go back on the roid era a little bit and into my era. Uh, so these guys, some of them took roids. They got all pumped up, right? And when I was a kid, what did I want to be? I wanted to be a professional wrestler when I grew up. That's what I wanted to do. And I'm looking at guys like Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, the greatest wrestler of all time, Brutus the Barber Beefcake. These guys looked awesome. Their physiques were, they looked like superheroes out there. So I did everything I could when I was a kid. My parents got me a wrestling buddy. I would wrestle the thing every day. I would set it up on my bed. I do the ring entrance. We do promos with it in my room. My parents probably thought I was crazy when I was a kid. And I would jump off my dresser and do elbow drops on them. Well, see, I started getting a little older, and one year I decided to blow up, and those elbow drops didn't do too good on my bed. Needless to say, my dad had to put paint cans under my bed for legs after that. But little did I know when I grew up, and I figured out I can't be a professional wrestler. I said, look at me, I'm not an athlete like these guys. I don't look like these guys. But when I look back now, I am the professional wrestler. I'm King Kong Bundy.
King Kong
I'm the
Bundy.
you know, I'm George the Animal Steel. I'm those guys. I look just like them. I could be the best out there right now. I'm my opportunity. I'm telling you.
King Kong Bundy. That's a name I hadn't heard in a long time. That's great. I do want to make one quick comment. As far as you mentioned the Ultimate Warrior. When I was thinking about talking about the steroid use and or just being totally jacked up, that guy. I mean, it looked like he was ready to explode. And
Yeah.
then at times the Macho Man looked like he was ready to explode. It's like, oh my goodness, don't get your blood pressure up anymore. You're gonna just combust right on the stage. But yeah,
Kurt, I'm glad you brought up the Macho Man. I want to issue a challenge, brother. Macho Man sound off.
Go ahead, guys.
You go for it, Kirk. I want to hear you.
no, he's
first.
challenging you, Kirk.
Well, I think you guys need to get involved. Oh yeah, it's the Macho Man. That's about all I got. Sorry.
Well, Kirk, that's not too bad, but we're going to get into it real good. Go to the cream of the crop. We're going to go all the way, brother. I'm going to tap you like a Slim Jim, brother. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I cannot compete with that. There we go. I'm going to have to go back to Kermit the Frog.
Oh my gosh.
What? Okay, while we're on impersonations, Michael, Jay, just give us some type of an impersonation of a wrestler.
Yeah, you had to clarify. Look, I don't know if I have a bunch of impersonations. I didn't spend, my childhood practicing in a mirror like Ryan Olsen did.
Well, that was good.
By
That
the
was
way,
good.
By the way, that sounded so harsh. Is your throat okay? Like,
There's the water.
drink some water.
There's
Yeah,
the
drink
water.
some water. That your lyrics
He was
have to
waiting
just
the whole
be
time. He's like, my throat's burning. I can't do it.
burning. Oh my goodness.
Oh no,
But-
no. Pastor Jackson put on here. Do it again, Kirk. I need to record it. No, definitely no. It's recorded. It was already recorded. Just
Yeah. Hey,
I might pull it off.
It is recorded. It's live, so it will be on Facebook. You can definitely pull that up anytime you want to. But yeah, no, Dad, I don't know if I'm gonna do any sort of like Macho Man. I mean,
Here you go. Here you go, Jay.
it's not appropriate. So
Careful,
like,
careful, careful.
Well,
my mom is the sweetest person in the world. I can't do that. Sorry,
yeah, there
Mama.
you go. That's good. Good job.
I can't be as nice as you. But anyways, if I was going to impersonate my mother, Jay Allen, what is wrong with you? Jay, you are such a mess. You're so inappropriate. Did you just meet me? That's my impersonation of my mother. Anyways, Mike, what do you got?
Look, guys, I came here to serve in the analyst role. The analyst does not do impressions. So, you know, if you would have had me go before Ryan, you might have got something, but Ryan killed it.
He threw it down. He threw it down. I mean, it's like, wow, nobody can do that. But he did have to get a drink.
Ryan, I'm trying to look at our time and figure out when we should start our last segment. But Ryan,
you are in it now. You got 20 minutes.
Dad, it just is what it is. We're gonna go on for a couple hours. Get over it. Ryan, looking at your favorite, like you got to experience some really cool eras because you're an old man and you're my oldest best friend. So cool. What was your favorite era? Like your favorite moments throughout all of your years of watching wrestling entertainment?
Well, there's two favorite eras. They're tied probably. Obviously, when I was a little kid, the characters, the cartoonish characters back in the day. So every person that was out there was a character. If you weren't, you barely even said your name. That was the best era. But when I was gotten to high school and Hulk Hogan decided to go to WCW, that was about the ages of 16, 17, 18. We would go to my buddy's house every Monday night, and we'd have multiple TV set up for Monday Night Football, Monday Night Nitro, and Monday Night Raw. And I remember, there'd be a bunch of us sitting there watching, and when Hulk Hogan went to WCW, we're all looking at the WCW TV. But then pretty soon, Stone Cold Steve Austin came on there, and all these other guys, and you started looking over at the WWF one, and you started going back and forth, and those were the Monday Night Wars. And I don't think, if you ask any wrestling fan, that is the best area during the Monday Night era, the Wars, where those two organizations went all out. You thought it was really fun to watch because you always thought WCW was going to die until Hogan went there. And then he went there and you thought WWF was going to die. And then the glass broke. Stone Cold came in, short stint, and saved the company, in my opinion. And it all shifted back. And it was really something to watch back then. I'm sure Michael can agree with that.
Ryan's completely right. And it's such a layered experience what the Monday Night Wars was, because WCW was trying to win a war with money, and in this particular scenario wasn't going to do it. I'm not a necessarily just an all WWE or nothing kind of guy, but it's undeniable that Vince McMahon is a borderline genius. And so what happened is when WCW started writing checks to all these guys to come over, Vince McMahon said, okay, I'll just make more people. And so what we did is a lot of people don't realize is that without the Monday Night Wars and people like Hogan, Nash, Hall, Bret Hart, all these guys that are jumping ship to WCW, we would have never had The Rock. We would have never had The Undertaker. We would have never had Stone Cold Steve Austin. We would have never had Shawn Michaels. I mean, it's just a lot of these guys were boosted to stardom by the fact that there was vacancies in the main event slot. And so not only did you have these blossoming new stars that were just creating magical moments in wrestling, But all the things that we found out from the business end about how WCW was burning through money and the network was breathing down their neck and Vince McMahon was on the edge of tapping out. I mean, it is an incredible era that will never be rivaled. It just won't.
Kirk, can you move that question up, or what's it say there? Does anyone remember wrestling at the Chase? That dates me. I'm leaning to you guys. You guys are the smart ones here.
I don't know what they're talking about.
I got nothing.
That is Pastor James Jackson. So I am curious, Pastor Jackson, what wrestling at the Chase is.
Give us
you
another
have time.
Give us another
please
comment.
share.
We'll put it up. We'll put it up.
That's awesome.
You know, I remember my grandmother. I mean, you're going to talk about dating. My grandmother used to. She would go and watch this guy called Gorgeous George.
Oh,
Anybody ever heard of him?
Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah, she saw him live. And what about this name? I like this name. This was one of the guys I liked growing up. Rufus R. Jones. Anybody remember that guy?
Yep.
Okay. Jay, you're not getting anything, huh? Whatever.
Nope. Dude, I'm just not as educated. I don't know.
No, you're just not as old. All right. Continue.
No, that's awesome. I'd love to. I don't want to lose out on time, but I want to dive into one more question for Mikey Fresh. You obviously, we can tell you're the intellectual one. I'm just kind of the goofball. Ryan is memory lane. It was a wrestling program each week at the Chase Park Plaza in St. Louis. That's awesome.
Pastor
I'm
Jackson,
sure
what year was this? Let
I'm
us
sure
know
it
what
got-
year that was.
I'm sure that got snatched up by WWE at some point, or WWF at the time. They bought up so many of those wrestling programs. Mike, you love going behind the curtain. When I first got back into wrestling with you, you totally pulled the curtain back for me. You got to show me like how it actually works, what these guys are like in real life. You love watching like the documentaries, diving into all that. I just kind of want you to touch on that and some of the great entertainment that you get from behind the curtain.
So what people don't realize is that everybody assumes that wrestling is just this very surface level. They're going to come out, they're going to beat on each other. They're 1, 2, 3, it's done. But this is an entire subculture that is not only a business, it's a way of life. There's a code, there's a process, and it is fascinating to me to go behind the scenes and see how these people are interacting with each other, how there's the in front of the curtain personality, there's the behind the curtain personality, and quite frankly, these documentaries and the information that you're able to absorb from them is just, it's mind blowing. So even as we were talking about the Monday Night Wars, WWE sometime within the last 5 years or so released an entire, I think it's 12-part documentary about the Monday Night Wars, where each hour-long episode spans the entirety of the Monday Night Wars, but focuses on this one little niche factor of the Monday Night Wars that changed the tide of the whole thing. And so you have these 12 different instances of learning how the intricate details of the behind the scenes works. And when you learn all of these things, wrestling just gives you so much depth. And it makes it something that can be appreciated at such a much deeper level, because you're not just seeing baby oil, muscles, 1, 2, 3, go home. It's now this entire lifestyle, this business, this process. It is a beautiful and truly just undervalued profession for everything that goes into it.
Your passion always wins me over. I'm always like, all right, let's do it. Let's watch a documentary.
Well, let's go.
You sold me on it. I'm in.
You guys saw there that Pastor Jackson said the 50s. So thank you, Pastor Jackson.
Well, what's
I did
interesting
see
about
that.
that time frame is that that would have been still in the time where there was no national wrestling organization across the whole country. You had territories that were throughout the United States. And so I have no doubt that this was a Midwest territory where, you know, a certain group of wrestlers were traveling between cities. And so that's actually a really beautiful time before wrestling went more toward a corporate entity where everything was subsidized under, you know, less corporations and stuff. But really beautiful time in those territory days.
I told you, Mikey's a genius. Look at him. That's correct. That's right.
See,
That's
Michael,
awesome.
Michael, hold on to that. Somebody said that's correct. You are. There you go.
I did it, Mom! I did it, Mom!
Hey, we got about 10 minutes. I want to make sure. I want to make sure that you do ask the one question of getting the. What did you say? Mount Rushmore. Make sure you do that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're getting into it right now. So,
All right.
men, you know, me, Mike, and Ryan, just a little backstory. Just shut up, Dad. We're going to go as long as we want. A little backstory. At the beginning of COVID, me, Mike, and Ryan, we wanted to see each other more. And what we started doing was we actually started doing these like drafts. And so we would draft like best movies of all time, best wrestlers of all time, best movie characters of all time, and we would like actually battle each other like in these drafts, and it was so much fun. So, and it was also so stressful. I remember walking out of some of those, like we would spend. I'm like, hey, honey, on Saturday morning, I'm gonna just like hang out with Mike and Ryan. We're just gonna talk. I remember one time we went for 5 hours, and my
Yep.
wife was so mad at the end of that. She's like, you guys are so loud, you're so obnoxious, and 5 hours of the day is gone. And I was like, yeah, I'm really sorry. It felt like 2 hours. Like it did not feel like we were on the phone that long. But we would just debate and yell at each other and scream. And everyone knows I throw the biggest fit when you don't pick my option. And so I'll just what's that word with that they do in Congress? I'll just keep going until someone says I'm right. Anyways, I would do that often. So when I don't want us to do like a full draft and do all that tonight. Maybe another special wrestling edition.
We'll do
of One
another
Nation.
wrestling. We'll do another wrestling edition. We'll do that.
But tonight, I've got to get into the Mount Rushmore. These are the four wrestlers who are on Mount Rushmore. Can we all agree on 4 wrestlers that shaped and changed wrestling forever, and now they are on the Mount Rushmore? Ryan, I'm going to let you take it away and explain what Mount Rushmore means to you and why you're going to pick one wrestler. Go for it.
All right, absolutely. Mount Rushmore, let's just get out of the way. The real Mount Rushmore has 4 presidents on there. 4 presidents that build a foundation for our country to live on and go on forever. Okay? So that's what my Mount Rushmore is of wrestling. That's what it should be wrestling. Who built the foundation? Who did the most for wrestling? Who kept the business going? Who made it mainstream? All this stuff. And I know Michael probably has this guy on there because you are a fool if you don't have him on your Mount Rushmore. the biggest bust on the Mount Rushmore has got to be the Hulkster, Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan, brother. That guy made the wrestling explode. WWF was around. There's all the other competitors, but this guy exploded. He was all over mainstream media. If you say wrestling, people know who Hulk Hogan is today, even kids. He's got to be on there. He is, in the house building business, the foundation of wrestling. He's the cement you pour, okay? The next guy you bring on, I call him the floor trusses. You got to keep building it up. This guy is, Mike may have him on his Mount Rushmore too, I'm not sure. He's also old school. But if you're going to have the hero, you got to have a villain. And in my opinion, the best heel of all time and the record holder for most world titles is Ric Flair, styling and profiling, limousine riding. He is number 2 on the Mount Rushmore. Number 3, in my opinion, Vince McMahon did a great thing. He took all these territories, bottom up. created this corporate, as Michael calls it, wrestling. He wouldn't have done that without one guy. And before Hulk Hogan, this guy carried wrestling. This guy carried wrestling in territories. Everybody wanted him, and Vince knew if he was going to get this thing going, he had to have him. And he is the larger than life, the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant. And how people don't put this guy on the Mount Rushmore is just crazy to me. That's like not putting George Washington on Mount Rushmore. This guy, the guy who got it going. He was the guy who everybody went to go see. They don't, there was Dick the Bruiser and all these other guys. Nobody cared about them. They wanted to see Andre the Giant. He's gigantic.
He was
had
the
to get that
mountain.
name. He was on there. The fourth one is the tough one. Who do you put on there for that fourth spot? I have some honorable mentions. Stone Cold might be on there, but he's not. His career was too short. He had a long career, but Stone Cold was just a small part. Impact, but to me, that's like putting Terrell Davis as one of the best running backs of all time. Just too short of a career. Sting, he was great, but always the number two in every wrestling organization, if you ask me. Flair was always the top dog in WCW. The Undertaker, he's not on there either because he was never the main guy. He was a great character. He lasted forever. They did a great thing, him never losing WrestleMania, but he's not on there. It really came down to two guys for me. And just because I know this will make Mike mad, I'm not going to pick the guy because I know it's going to drive him nuts. You'd want me to say John Cena because all the titles he's had, and he's in movies now, and he's all this, or The Rock is all that. But when I think about Mount Rushmore, I can't put John Cena on there. I got to put the guy that people still see when they go into a gas station every time and they get a Slim Jim, brother. It's the Macho Man.
Michael's got his pin out.
Man, he's on movies, he's on commercials. He was a great wrestler. He was a great commentator. Everybody wants to do, if you see the word, oh yeah, you do it in the Macho Man's voice. Everybody does. That's the Mount Rushmore. That is the Mount Rushmore. So I don't know what Michael's going to pick, but it's the wrong answers.
So with that, go Michael, right?
Michael, you're up, buddy. I'm
Ryan.
all about your.
Ryan said some intelligent things, and Ryan also said some things that should have never been uttered by any man ever. So here's the thing. We're gonna go through because Ryan and I have some similarities. So we're gonna start honestly in no particular order. I mean, Mount Rushmore is already hard enough, and I don't know that I could list them, in a particular order. But what Ryan had right is that Hulk Hogan definitely deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore. Here's the thing. Here's the captivating thing about Hulk Hogan. Here's the captivating thing about Hulk Hogan is that his wrestling accomplishments were not even that large compared to a lot of other wrestlers. I mean, he's a 6-time WCW champion. He's a 6-time WWE champion. Yeah, he won 2 Rumbles. He's a 2-time Hall of Famer. But realistically, his wrestling accolades are not what gets him on Mount Rushmore. What gets him on Mount Rushmore is the fact that he turned wrestling mainstream. Because every movie that he did, every late night appearance, it all pointed back to the WWF at the time. And so Hogan was instrumental to introducing wrestling to a new fan base, to people that had never seen wrestling before. And that's why Hulk Hogan definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, another thing that Ryan and I agree upon is that Ric Flair deserves to be on Mount Rushmore. Here's the thing. A lot of mainstream everyday wrestling fans don't know a whole lot about Ric Flair. Ric Flair has worked for almost every territory, every company. I mean, the guy has seen and done it all. I mean, he is an 8-time WWA champion. Yes, I have notes. He is a 6-time WCW champion. He is a 2-time WWF champion, a Rumble win, and a 2-time Hall of Famer. But his longevity and the feuds that he had, I mean, some of them, some of the best feuds of all time, not even in the modern era, but even the work that he did with Harley Race. oh no, excuse me, not Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes. Back in the day, I mean, him and Dusty just went at it back and forth and back and forth. And Dusty Rhodes actually, his most famous promo, Hard Times, was thrown at Ric Flair because their feud was just that intense. Ric Flair is your man's technical wrestler that stood the test of time. He is old school. He can hang with anybody. And every match he does is a perfect, flawless match. That is why he is on Mount Rushmore. Now, here's where things get a little spicy. Where Ryan and I disagree is that wrestling would not be where it is today without Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay? And here's the reality. People say his career is not very long, but that's just simply not the case because his time in wrestling goes all the way back to being the ringmaster in WCW and also being a part of the Hollywood Blondes. Okay? He has a very long stint in wrestling. He hung around in the mid-card for a really long time, but the reality is the WWE would not exist today without Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Stone Cold Steve Austin is what won the Monday Night Wars. His character is what every blue-collar American wanted to see by seeing their boss beat up by the employee and getting away with it. And I mean, it is marketing genius to show this to the television. And so, you know, to list his accolades, not even that many. He's a 6-time WWF champion. He's a 2-time WWF Intercontinental champion, 4-time tag champ. He had the $1 Million Championship from Ted DiBiase, but he is actually one of the most recognized Royal Rumble winners. He is only one of a handful of people that have won 3 Royal Rumbles, 97, 98, and 2001. Hands down, Stone Cold Steve Austin deserves to be on Mount Rushmore, not only because of his tenure in wrestling, which is a lot longer than people think, but also because modern day wrestling would not exist without him. Okay, now, last but not least, this guy, stop laughing at me. What are you doing?
I'm so excited.
This guy never gets enough credit because even to Ryan's point, as he, Jay, yes, Jay.
I'm going to raise my hand. I just want to be clear right now, Mike. We are 3 for 3 on Mount Rushmore. You and me, buddy. We are 3 for 3. Don't mess this up.
Don't forget mine.
Okay. So this guy has been instrumental, and I'm going to give it away in the pitch here. This guy has been instrumental in the careful molding and crafting that is the modern day business with all of the wrestlers that we see today, and that influence has spanned over 30 years. Yes, it is the Phenom, The Undertaker. Without The Undertaker, we would not be seeing wrestling as it is today. It is well documented that he ran the wrestler's court behind the scenes. He has molded more wrestlers and has more respect by everyone in professional wrestling than any other person in history. Modern wrestling exists because of The Undertaker. And furthermore, no one has the ability to say that they wrestled 30 years actively. It's just unheard of. And simply by time given alone, by tenure alone, just like the guy that worked 50 years at the old steel mill, they get the respect. So does The Undertaker. He is on Mount Rushmore. But I have one curveball for you before we run out of time. There is only one honorable mention, and it will be a name that people probably don't agree with. And that is Y2J Chris Jericho. He has worked for every business. He has wrestled across the world. He has sold out the Tokyo Dome on multiple occasions. He has the largest fan base across this planet. He has had every major championship in every major promotion. He's the only wrestler to be successful in Mexico, in Japan, in Canada, and the United States. My honorable mention goes to Chris Jericho.
All right, that's
Okay.
awesome. Jay,
First
you
of
do
all, that's
Jay, do
just-
yours, and then we're gonna have to wrap it
That's
up, man.
just I have to hear yours too, Dad. Look,
Well,
Mike,
yeah.
that's just because you see Chris Jericho and you go, maybe I can wrestle too. That doesn't mean he belongs on Mount Rushmore. I mean, Mike, I mean, come on, man. That Chris Jericho, no, that's not a good honorable mention. I don't know what's going on with my headband. Listen,
Rip it.
I don't agree with The Undertaker. I just don't agree with Mark Calloway. As epic as he is, as epic as his career has been, it is not something that I feel like, yes, people know him, but it did not like change wrestling history. I've got two names to throw out there, Mike. I've got two names to throw out there. You can just shut your mouth. I've got two names for you. Again, we were
Hey,
three for
JJ,
three.
hold on. Before you say this, tell
Dude,
me
my
why
time.
the Undertaker does not.
Nope. Listen, buddy, this is my time. The Undertaker does not make Mount Rushmore. Sorry. Again, he probably spoke 30 words his entire wrestling career. Come, give me a break. Anyways, I have to throw out two names, and I honestly don't know what the fourth pick is. I agree with Hulk Hogan. I agree with Ric Flair. I agree with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Sorry, Ryan. Stone Cold, there is nothing like the glass breakage, and it literally saved the WWE. The other name that comes to mind from the same era, in my opinion, you can't get away from this guy. He's literally in everything, is The Rock. You always hear he's still doing stuff. He put out a rap song the other day. Randomly, like what does this guy have time for? He's in 20 movies a year. He there was nothing like, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? Like, there is nothing like the energy and the character, his charisma. There were so many good people in that era, but The Rock, I just absolutely love that guy. But he's my honorable mention. He does not go on Mount Rushmore. This fourth name was actually sparked by a great conversation I had the other day with one of my best bald friends in the world.
Take
I
your hat
honestly,
off. Take your hat off, Michael. Just we got three bald guys.
we got three bald guys. It's the one right above me.
Yeah.
Great conversation with Ryan the other day. You talk about The Undertaker and all of his longevity and the characters. What about the guy who's been behind the steering wheel the entire time? Why would his face not be up there? Vince McMahon. No! How could you not? You don't have any of it without Vince McMahon and his vision and what he did. This guy ran into a ring on a botched Royal Rumble, jumps into it, rips both of his quads, crawls to the corner, turns around, and is just sitting on the ground going, reset it up, reset it up. That's not how it was supposed to end. This guy is literally a legend. Vince McMahon, he should be the fourth face. The fourth face is always the hard one. The fourth face is Vince McMahon. That's my opinion.
All right.
Live or die.
That's
Putting
good.
Vince McMahon on Mount Rushmore is like putting the guy's face that carved Mount Rushmore on Mount Rushmore. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Quit.
Let me get we were done.
All
Let me
right.
get mine real quick, and then we will let you close out the show, Jay. But we're gonna have you guys on again. This has been good. Mine, I'm gonna agree with absolutely Hulk Hogan, and I really believe that it even skyrocketed more when he was on the Rocky movie, Rocky 3, slamming Sylvester Stallone on the mat just like he was a rag doll. That was awesome. I believe Ric Flair. My brother was a huge Ric Flair fan. Woo! Woo! All right, you guys are awesome. I'm gonna go. This was a hard one. When Ryan was talking about the eighth wonder of the world, Again, it's about marketability. I mean, they were flocking to see that guy. And so I'm going to have to agree with that one. And again, with the marketability, I would
The
have to go
Princess
with
Bride.
I would
You
have
just
to go
love
with
the
The
Princess
Rock.
Bride.
I would have to go with The Rock because, and again, all the ones that you guys, Michael, I get you. All the ones that you guys were saying were awesome. I was just going strictly for the marketability. That's what I was going. I mean,
The
the
Rock
guys
is
that
the
drove
most
people.
famous quitter in all of WWE.
Oh,
He's self-entitled and thinks that he
quit.
just, oh guys, I feel like coming back to wrestling now, so you're gonna love me, no problem. Okay. He is the most famous quitter in all of professional wrestling.
Speaking of quitting, we've got to quit the program. Jay, Ryan, and Michael, guys, thank you so much.
Dad, hold on. I have to let Ryan. Ryan, you heard all of them. Say your piece. You got to be able to say your piece.
I don't know how Michael kept on the show. If he goes off with that terrible crow sound, how does he not go off with those Mount Rushmore calls? Come on. Jeez. Chris Jericho, this thing should have all shut down.
Someone who says that Chris Jericho does not deserve to be on Mount Rushmore is uninformed, and I'll leave it at that.
Are you going to spit your water?
Mount Rushmore, so thank you for making it for yourself. You're
All
uninformed.
right. Jay, finish up, Jay.
All right. Man, we had such a fun night. I am just so happy that we got Ryan Olson and Michael Glavin on tonight's show. I knew it was going to go long. I didn't know it was going to go this long, but this is what happens when you get us all together. We have an absolute wonderful time. It says it's been an hour. I think it's been like 10 minutes. It just does. Time stands still when I'm hanging out with these guys.
Yeah.
You guys know that we absolutely love that you guys tune in, you watch the program, you share it, you comment. Pastor Jackson, thank you so much for the comments tonight. It was super fun.
Don't forget
I
your
hope
mom.
you guys, my mom, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed the program. I can't wait to have another One Nation meets wrestling entertainment, and we can keep just talking about the legends and how much wrestling did have an impact in our lives, because it is such a fun topic to talk about. But you guys know what to do. You need to like our page, share it, comment. That way we can keep bringing you guys great content every week, and we can keep paying our special guest stars lots of money. Ryan went, "You got paid, Mike?" And his face, "You got paid?"
Lots
How
of
much?
zeros. Lots of zeros.
But we absolutely love that you guys tune in and keep doing that every week, and we're going to keep bringing you guys awesome content. Can't wait to see you guys next week. You know the time. It's Monday nights, 7 p.m. Central, and you get One Nation and SLM Extra. I'm your co-host, Jay. That's the Bald Eagle. We absolutely love you guys. God bless.
Hey, real quick, before we go, I do want to say, Michael, we want to let you know we're continuing to pray for you and your family at the loss of your dad. Just had that funeral this past weekend, and you guys have had a pretty just a rough week. So we just wanted to let you know we're continuing to lift you up in prayer, and thank you for being on here tonight. I know you had a lot going on today, and we appreciate you being on here. Ryan, thank you.
I cried enough this weekend. Why are you trying to make me cry again,
Well,
Dad?
I figured I didn't need to do it at the beginning of the program. I saved it to the end. So with that, guys, again, thank you very much. Everybody, thanks again, and we'll see you next week. God bless you.